What is happening, everybody? This is John LaCroix with Bulletproof Bear, and we are in the middle of a series of videos where we are talking about how to use music in your production legally. At this point, we've talked about the different components of music copyright. We've talked about work for hire, licensing, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the two major components of a music license and how to license music in your production. And if you want to get some killer music for your production, head over to catalog.bulletproofbear.com, or if your school needs a site license for the catalog, you can head over to store.bulletproofbear.com, click on the site license button, click on the number of students you have, and you can check out and get rolling right there on the spot. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. In our last video, we talked about work for hire. Remember that at work for hire, there's an exchange of money and you're essentially buying rights. And this is very typical if you have a composer on a project, or maybe you're getting some custom music created for an ad campaign, a promo, a trailer, etc. Remember that licensing is like renting. Typically, a license would be for music that's already been created, and there's an exchange of money for renting some rights for that specific production. And today we're going to look at the different components of a music license. A music license intended for picture really requires two separate and unique licenses. The first one is going to be the synchronization license. And a lot of times we'll just use the word sync. It's the right to synchronize the underlying composition with linear picture. So if we go back to an earlier video in our series, this is going to relate to whoever owns or controls the performing arts copyright, the PA copyright. This is kind of like the sheet music part of it. A lot of times this right will be obtained by the individual, or it could be even obtained by a music publisher. The second license that you're going to need for a music license is going to be a master use license. The master use license is going to be the license to use that specific sound recording. If we go back to an earlier video in our series, we know that the sound recording copyright is going to be related to the SR copyright. Right? So we have the synchronization, which is related to the underlying composition or the PA, and the master use is going to be related to the SR copyright. So who might you go to obtain a master use license? Well, you could go to the individual that owns or controls that sound recording. This might be an individual music producer, or you might have to obtain this from a record label. So let's go back to my song written by Jason. In this case, Jason owns and controls the underlying composition or the PA, performing arts copyright. Now, if I wanted to license the hip hop version, who would I have to go to for the synchronization license? That would be Jason, right? He owns the PA, and I would have to go to whoever created or owns or controls the My Song hip hop version sound recording for the master use license. So it could be the same person. If Jason created the hip hop version, I could go to Jason and say, hey, do you own the recording on the hip hop version? And he would say yes. And I'd say, okay, do you own the underlying composition? He would say yes. I could then license the sync rights for the PA to Jason, and then the master use rights on the My Song hip hop sound recording. Let's say that I wanted to license out the EDM version. Okay, again, for the sync rights, I would have to go to Jason, right? Because he controls the underlying composition. For the master use rights, I would have to go to whoever controls the EDM version of the sound recording, right? So might be two separate contracts, two different sets of clearances that might be needed for this. And lastly, let's say that I wanted to license the Kidz Bop version. Who would I go to for the sync rights? I would go to Jason for this because he controls the performing arts or the underlying composition. And then the master use license, that's owned by Kidz Bop. So I would have to go to Kidz Bop to obtain a master use license. Now, some of this stuff is a little bit confusing, but luckily we have folks that are in what's called music clearance. People in music clearance, this is their job, is to go through and to clear these rights for you as a service. So if there's a song that you want to license in your production, you can always go to someone in music clearance and they can tell you if that song is available and how much that will cost you to use in your production. Lastly, when we're looking at licensing a track, we have to figure out what terms we want to license for. So if you are a production, one of the first terms that you're going to need to negotiate is, what media do I need to license this for? So is it going to be on YouTube only? Is it going to be digital? Is it going to be for radio? Is it going to be for broadcast on television? Is it going to be a film festival? Or is it going to be all media? If you're a production, you're going to want to try and license for all media, present and future. Okay, the next term that you're going to want to negotiate is going to be the territory of the license. Where is this license going to be valid for? Is it going to be valid in, say, California? Is it going to be valid in the United States and Canada? Is it going to be worldwide? Or, wait for it, is it going to be the universe? Yes, we see the universe pop up on a lot of licenses. This is totally normal. The next component that you're going to need to negotiate is the term. How long is this license going to be valid for? Is it going to be 13 weeks? Is it going to be 6 months, a year, or is it going to be in perpetuity? What is perpetuity? That means forever. And the last part that you're going to want to negotiate is going to be how much this is going to cost. So the way this works is that the more rights that you're going to need, the more it's going to cost you. So if your production is very budget conscious, you want to keep your focus very narrow in terms of term, territory, and media. So for example, on a film festival run, you may want to negotiate just for the time that you're going to need for your film festival. And then if you are able to distribute or sell your project to a larger, i.e. Netflix or Amazon, you can always go back and renegotiate those rights. So I hope this series was fun and informative and gave you a glimpse on how to use music in your production, whether you're working with a composer or licensing music. As always, feel free to reach out to me or any of the team at Bulletproof Bear by going to bulletproofbear.com. There's a live chat on there. Hit us up with any questions. And if you want to use some great music for your production, you can head over to catalog.bulletproofbear.com. Or if your school needs a site license, which gives you access to all the great music in our catalog, head over to store.bulletproofbear.com, click on the site license, the number of students you have, and you can check out and get rolling right there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.